So, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince is the sixth installment of the Harry Potter film franchise. This being adapted from, as y'all can imagine, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. When it comes down to the plot of Half-Blood Prince, there is a lot going on in this movie. I mean, there is a lot going on, but to give you guys the main focus of the movie, we once again follow Harry Potter, who returns to Hogwarts for his 6th year, and while at Hogwarts, during a potions class, he comes across a potions book that he discovers was the property of the Half-Blood Prince, and at the same time, he starts to learn more of Lord Voldemort's past. Before I continue on with today's video, I just wanted to say, welcome to my channel, everybody. For those of you who are coming by my channel for the very first time, be sure to hit that subscribe button to not miss a future video, whether it's a future review, a future reaction, top 5, or whatever I have coming your way, and join me on my journey to 10K subscribers and beyond, because believe me when I say this, guys, you are not going to miss the cool shit I have coming your way. And for those of you who are coming back to my channel, welcome back. You have no idea how happy I'm to see your faces once again, and also start a conversation below, by the way. What do you think of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince? Where do you think this movie lies in your Harry Potter ranking? Let me know below. Alrighty guys, so let's get into Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince.
Excellent!
Really quick, everybody, before I continue on with my review of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, I just want to acknowledge that we are more than halfway through this review series. I mean, I cannot believe that we are already at the review of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Like, I remember just yesterday I was getting ready to record the Sorcerer's Stone, and now we are over halfway through reviewing this series before my Harry Potter ranking happens in November. Thank you all so much for joining me on my journey for reviewing the Harry Potter film franchise. Now, also, I just wanted to say, I know that these videos don't really get the hits like my recent movie reviews, my new movie reviews do, but for those of you who come by for my Harry Potter film reviews, I seriously appreciate it, and I'm having such a wonderful time reviewing these movies, not to mention as well wearing my Hogwarts robe, which, by the way, for those of you wondering which house I am in, you'll find out in my review of Deathly Hallows Part 2. But anyways, let's get on to reviewing The Half-Blood Prince. Walking out of Half-Blood Prince, I absolutely loved that film, and if you had asked me when I was a teenager, I would have probably have said this movie and my ranking, it would have been near the top of my love for the Harry Potter film franchise, because, man, I remember that this movie kicked so much ass when I was a teenager, and of course, knowing what happens at the end of the film, tears. Fun fact for y'all, story time for you guys. As the books were coming out, I actually didn't read the books as they were coming out. Actually, as a matter of fact, my dad was reading the books as they were coming out, and I didn't start reading the books until really before the films were coming out. There was a day, I swear to God to you guys, I was having lunch with my brother, my dad, and people that we knew, and I swear to God to you guys, this is true, my dad spoiled Dumbledore's death. Now, of course, I didn't say anything, but here's the thing. I didn't remember what he said because, man, when I saw it in the theater, I was in tears, man. Remember when I said in my review of Order of the Phoenix how I was dreading watching that film, but at the same time, I was curious to see how I would take that film in years later after seeing it. That's how I went into this movie. I was very curious to see how I would react to Half-Blood Prince years later, because I have seen this film now 3 times. For a 6th installment, which, by the way, we don't get a lot of those, any of them being good for that matter. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince is a good 6th installment, and that is hard to come by. Once again, guys, when it comes down to the performances here, all of them are once again fantastic. Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, Rupert Grint. I mean, again, I could go into pretty much everybody and just say how great it is, once again, to see not only how the actors are maturing into their roles, but seeing how the characters are progressing, knowing that we're getting into a darker and darker side of the Harry Potter universe. While the lead actors are terrific in this movie, believe it or not, guys, I actually have 4 standouts, and among those standouts, the 3 are not them, even though they are great. One of the standouts, once again, I have to mention, is Michael Gambon as Professor Dumbledore. Seeing where his character's journey goes, before that happens, I absolutely loved his journey, and even more so, seeing how that bond has been strengthened, especially in Half-Blood Prince, I thought was really, really sweet. It was terrific. Another standout that I gotta talk about, and he's been a standout throughout this film franchise, Alan Rickman as Severus Snape. Alan Rickman is one of the greatest actors of all time. Once again, R.I.P. Easily one of my favorite performances in this movie was Tom Felton as Draco Malfoy. Also, by the way, I should have mentioned this earlier, there will be some spoilers in this review, so I do apologize if you haven't seen this movie, but if you haven't, please go watch Half-Blood Prince because it is a damn good 6th movie. I absolutely loved seeing his character arc in this movie, especially knowing now he was chosen by Lord Voldemort to be a Death Eater. Seeing the internal conflict within Draco Malfoy, and Tom Felton does such a beautiful job portraying a person that is, he's an absolute dickhead. When he's called to do the task, you can just tell, and just seeing the cog spinning in his head and the emotions that he is just taking off. He really does such a beautiful job of wanting to do something, but at the same time, at the cost of what is really his morality. Another stand that I gotta mention is Jim Broadbent as Professor Slughorn. Oh my god. Certain spots in this movie, seeing how there's a bit of a part of him that's ashamed of what he did, knowing of, in his past, and seeing how things have come up and kind of a bit him in the ass. Jim Broadbent, absolutely brilliant in this movie. Another aspect of this movie that I gotta praise is David Yates' directing once again. Something that I really have to praise is David Yates' directing ability, because it really seems like that throughout the majority and throughout the rest of the Harry Potter films, that David Yates is getting such a confidence of not only moving the camera, but staging every single sequence. And not to mention as well, taking the franchise, of course, and to the darker roots and the colder side of the franchise. One of the things that I absolutely loved about this movie is the cinematography. Half-Blood Prince is easily, out of all the Harry Potter films, the most stunning Harry Potter film to look at. As you are fully well aware, Prisoner of Azkaban is not only my favorite Harry Potter film, but that's one of my favorite films of all time. But even I have to admit, guys, if there's one particular thing that Half-Blood Prince gets, and it does better than Prisoner of Azkaban, it is the cinematography. Bruno de Bonnell, I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. If not, I do apologize. He is a cinematographer who has worked primarily with the Coen brothers, especially in the 2010s decade. Bruno de Bonnell's cinematography is not only so full of so much great colors, but the style of the cinematography. Something I do have to really praise with the cinematography is how, in a way, the color palette does change throughout the film. In the beginning of the film, you do notice some slightly warmer hues, and then once you get to Hogwarts, the warmer hues get even warmer, and then once other scenes come in, there is such a colder feeling to this movie. Even though the Half-Blood Prince definitely has some darker moments, some colder moments, there are some legitimately hilarious moments. In particular, when Harry takes the liquid luck potion, oh my god. That whole thing, especially when he walks out and goes, "Hi!"
Trust me, I know what I'm doing. Or Felix does. Hi!
Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince also has a great score. I believe Nicholas Hooper came back to compose the music for this movie after, I'm pretty sure he did do Order of the Phoenix. Nicholas Hooper's score not only has these subtle undertones, especially in the sequences with Voldemort, but not to mention as well the more epic sequences, like especially the Quidditch, which is, by the way, the Quidditch scene in this movie, or especially, the tryout scene, is so much fun. The sequence where Harry and Dumbledore are trying to get one of the Horcruxes when they learn about the Horcruxes, that whole sequence and the epic rising score is brilliant. And not to mention as well, of course, the score that you hear when, spoiler alert, when we see Dumbledore meeting his demise. Damn you, Snape. The storytelling of Half-Blood Prince, I think, for a good majority of it, is really, really well done. Because like I mentioned to you guys earlier, Half-Blood Prince has a lot going on. I mean, there is a lot going on in Half-Blood Prince. Whether it's the stuff involving Harry finding the property of the Half-Blood Prince, him trying to extract information from Slughorn, not to mention as well, what the hell was going on with Dumbledore and him traveling around, even though when we do find out, the whole bond that Severus Snape has made with Draco Malfoy's mother, and the thing that Draco Malfoy has to do in terms of having the Death Eaters infiltrate Hogwarts, and on top of everything else, the romance aspects. My favorite aspect about this movie was the stuff involving Draco Malfoy and him trying to deal with the fact that he was chosen by Lord Voldemort, and not to mention as well, the stuff that we find out about Voldemort. That stuff about Half-Blood Prince, I absolutely loved, and those were easily my favorite elements of this movie, and I seriously wish we spent more time with those things, especially with the Voldemort stuff. One of my favorite sequences in Half-Blood Prince is when we see Harry using Sectum Sempra against Draco Malfoy, when he sees the effects of that. That whole sequence is easily my favorite scenes in the entire film, and not to mention as well, gotta talk about this once again, I love how that scene is shot. It's beautifully done, it's beautifully composed, and the ending of that scene is brilliant stuff. The ending of this movie is so well done, and it does such a great job of setting up the epic two-part finale that is Deathly Hallows.
Well, that's just fucking great!
Guys, I cannot believe I'm about to say, shockingly, and believe me when I say this, guys, this shocked me upon my most recent rewatch of this movie. This movie actually might be among the weaker installments of the franchise for me. This bit of the movie I thought was very filler, and that is the whole romance aspect. I completely understand that at this point in the Harry Potter film franchise, we've gone to the point where starting with, there was even hints of it in Prisoner of Azkaban, but starting off with Goblet of Fire, or the things now here, I completely understand that the characters are getting older, they're maturing, they're getting feelings for other people and all that stuff, and it was very clear at the start of the film, the element where Ron and Lavender get together. This was easily my least favorite part of Half-Blood Prince. I completely get why this part was in there, but every single time I saw that, it just felt like it was filler. It's entertaining filler, absolutely, but I genuinely felt that that whole aspect of Half-Blood Prince, and I completely understand it's there because Hermione has feelings for Ron, but I do have to say, in my personal opinion, that whole aspect, the whole dating aspect of Half-Blood Prince, just, I don't know why. For me, it was the weakest aspect. And if you ask me, I would have replaced those bits with more Voldemort stuff. Not enough Voldemort stuff. Seeing the origins of Voldemort, whether it was the first conversation that he has with Dumbledore or seeing the conversations that he had with Slughorn, I absolutely loved that stuff. But here's the thing, and I'm gonna be one of those annoying people that says, but in the book, I gotta say it anyways, because, again, it just, I wouldn't feel right talking this movie if I didn't mention this stuff. The stuff with Lord Voldemort in the book is badass, it's absolutely incredible. As a matter of fact, one of my favorite bits of Half-Blood Prince in the book was a sequence with Lord Voldemort, and I believe Dumbledore, if I'm not mistaken, was a page turner of these sequences. This movie, I felt like if it was about 10 to 15 minutes, maybe even 20 minutes longer for that matter, add more Voldemort stuff, add all the Voldemort lore, because man, if you had had it in there, you would have had such great stuff in there. But as it stands, I just wished that there was more Voldemort stuff. There is a shitload of stuff going on in this movie. Like, there is so much stuff going on in this movie to the point where at times this movie where it feels like it has no real focus because of the amount of plot line, but it does stumble and it struggles to find its footing, and to a point the pacing does kind of struggle at times because of that. But here's the thing, it doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen quite a bit. It just feels like in this movie that there was a little too much going on.
Here we go.
So overall, while this film is among the weaker installments of the franchise for me, at the same time, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince is regardless a well-done film and a damn good 6th installment of the Harry Potter film franchise. All in all, I'm going to give Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince a 3.75 out of 5. Despite this movie for me being among the weaker installments for me, nonetheless, it is a well-made film, and like I said to you guys earlier, it also does do a darn good job of setting up what's to come in our epic finale. I hope you all enjoyed my review of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. If so, please hit the like button, or if you dislike the review, hit the dislike button. If you guys want to see my previous 2 videos, please click the right there or right there. And of course, until my next review video goes live, I will see you all next time. See y'all next month for my review of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1.